Alright, everyone, welcome back to more Dead Rising! Wow! In the last episode, I went on about a rant on corporate practices. Oh, cool. Nothing new happening, so we can farm up some money! Let me know how you guys think of the audio levels, because I'm in a bit of a rare mood, so I'm getting a little bit more excited, so I scream some more. If you like that enthusiasm, leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you don't like it, leave a comment section down in the comment section below. See what I did there? I trapped you guys. Now you have to leave a comment down in the comment section below. If you don't like me asking for comments, leave a comment section. Okay, sorry, I'll stop. So one thing I was thinking about is, to me at least, there hasn't seemed to have been a good video game movie yet. I say yet. And some people might be saying, well, you can't possibly make a good video game movie. What time's the next case start at? 6:30 p.m.? Good grief, we have a lot of time to mess around and do nothing. But I am of the opinion that eventually we might have a good video game movie. I think you have to give it time. Because, and I just saw this argument a while ago, so I can't take originality in saying that, hey, I came up with this argument, but rather I read this and I'm like, hey, I agree with this. Basically the point was, so if we consider comic book movies when they first came out, I think for the most part, and if I'm wrong, please say something, I think for the most part for comic book movies when they first started coming out, people didn't really know how to do them properly, or at the very least they felt a little awkward doing them. And this may have been because for the reason that back in the day nerd culture wasn't as popular as it is now. But regardless, for the sake of the argument, let's just assume that comic book movies sucked back in the day. However, if you look now, comic book movies are easily, okay, I shouldn't say easily. Okay, that's a bold statement. I gotta bring it back a little bit. Comic book movies are popular. I would say probably the most popular. However, I'd be willing to accept the fact that I might be biased on this, and I don't really know what I'm talking about. Alright, I guess we're going there then. Welcome to the family. Oh, I know what this is. Okay. We'll bust up these machines and head over. So, at what point, you might be asking, how do they start doing comic book movies correctly? Well, I think after they, did enough of them, they just started to get them right. And the saying I would say here is, like, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet. So they might have had a few flaws, but I think eventually that they got their act together, and then we have what we have now today. But also I think there's a lot of things that went into it, like, for example, being a nerd's cool now. Like, no one feels ashamed putting on the Iron Man suit and pretending to be Iron Man. Like, I'm sure Robert Downey Jr., like the guy who plays Iron Man, probably loves his job. He probably thinks it's so cool. And most of the actors and like actresses who play superheroes now, they're like, yeah, my job's awesome. Like, playing a superhero is now like, that's like a status symbol. It's like, if you can play a superhero, like, you're cool. You're on the cool kids team now. Whereas before, it's like, that may have not been something you'd want to put on your resume. It's like, oh yeah, I was the Incredible Hulk in this. Like, some people was like, oh yeah, that's so cool. But, times have changed. And I also think there were some people back in the day who, like, wear that badge with pride, saying that, hey, back in the 1960s, I used to play a superhero on a TV show. Like, I think some people really dig that. And that's cool when people do the stuff they love regardless of what society thinks. Like, for me, that's really cool. I mean, within reason, right? If someone's like, yeah, I really like murdering people in my spare time, but society looks down on it. Like, for that, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm with society on this one. But like, if someone's like, yeah, I like to make paper airplanes, but everyone looks down on me. It's like, dude, you keep doing your dream. That's awesome. Stay true to yourself. That's cool. So bring us all the way back to like video game movies or video game TV shows. I haven't seen anything that's been like super amazing, but I have hope that maybe one day we'll get to the point where like someone might make, say, a Castlevania TV show and it does amazing. And for those of you who may have guessed, like, this is what spurred on the conversation. Like, if you watch this video around the time it was published, there's been buzz about a Castlevania TV show, and I'm hoping it will do well, because I like it when Castlevania does well. Even though I might not partake in the medium all the time, I always like it, seeing it do well. There was something else. There's another, like, franchise or something where I don't necessarily partake in, but I like it when it does well. I think Nintendo was one of them. I'll get into that a little bit later, because there is a lot of reason for that. I'm afraid I might forget part way through the video, though. Speaking of Castlevania, so they have a TV show, and, like, I'm hoping it's good. Like, I might not watch it, but I'm hoping it's good, because that way, that can mean more things for the Castlevania franchise, like more positive things, let me reiterate. So if the Castlevania brand does well, then it's like maybe we can see like more games of Castlevania, or say whatever, what have you, right? Like more Castlevania products. Like there could be more Castlevania, and I hope that would mean that we get more quality products of Castlevania. But now I'm thinking about, like, that might not necessarily be the case. Because I think it goes both ways. Like, so, the more video game movies that we have, I think that increases the odds of one of them being good. But I also think there will also exist a chance of there being more duds. But that being said, in theory, you can ignore the duds, but then you might say, well, what happens if the duds, well, they're duds, right? So, like, what impact are they going to have on the perception of the franchise? And then I think that's where you get into trouble. That's why I'd say, hey, I want to do well, so that people think positively on that. And I was going to say, like, Nintendo, but I don't feel like that's the right example. I like it when Nintendo products do good, because that means Nintendo's has support, and if Nintendo has support, then we're more likely to see the things that I'm a fan of. Say, for example, like more Super Smash Brothers, or like more Fire Emblem. I think that's an example too. Like if Fire Emblem does well, then that means we get more Fire Emblem, which I was a little afraid, you know, when Awakening came out, because it kind of seemed like that might have been the last Fire Emblem game ever, but apparently it did, well, it did do very well. Not apparently. It did incredibly. So, now we live in a world where, like, there's another Fire Emblem coming out in May, and that's awesome. Like, I'm a huge fan of that. So that pleases me, because the franchise is doing good. I think that's my argument. I was also going to say, like, I've been having the itch to play some Castlevania, and I might do this after, or play Castlevania after Off the Record. But here's where it's like you guys can actually take a vote. So here's what I was thinking. I'll talk to these guys and I'll tell you where I was thinking about taking a channel. And these are just some ideas. But I also realize at this point, like, I think by the time anyone watches this video, I might have already like done something. Whoops. That's bad. Alright, let's go! Come on, Kenneth. Here, can we give him a soda? I feel bad for hitting him. Can we give him a sword? Okay, can he take a sword? He take a meat cleaver. I'll give him the meat cleaver, that's fine. Spiked bat. We should also give them a food item in case they need it. So I think the fries are better than the soda.
Hey, keep up.
Alright, and let's go to the safe house. Where's the map? X map. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. We're here. Set waypoint. This is safe house? That must be the safe house.
Quick, follow me.
Okay, so hopefully the Survivor AI is a little bit better in this one than the first Dead Rising. Oh, we'll see. Okay, anyways, about like the game I was gonna play next. If it's relevant, like I suspect, there will be a time when someone will watch this video and it's no longer relevant. Well, it might still be, you know, because if you leave a comment here saying, hey, I'd rather see this, then I get a better idea of, like, what my potential viewers might be interested in. I'll get to that later, too. So I'm thinking of either playing, like, a Castlevania GBA game, or, like, DS. I'm thinking of playing either, like, Area of Sorrow or Dawn of Sorrow. Playing one of those on the channel. Or I might start the StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty campaign. I'm really undecided, but if you guys have a preference, leave a comment down in the comment section below, and I'll be like, okay, well, sure, like, I'll do it. And the beautiful thing is, because how small my channel is, probably if you're the only one who voices your opinion, there's a good chance you'll get what you want. And now, like, it really sounds like I'm desperate for comments, and maybe I shouldn't be lampshading this, but I'm doing it anyways.
Hey, I'm waiting on you.
But, like, seriously, though, like, I'm willing to... I'm happy to take requests, but the other thing, too, is, like, for my channel, like, I usually just play what I feel like playing. But the reason why I'm considering both of those games is because I feel like playing either one of those games. Like, I think it'd be a lot of fun to play Castlevania on my channel. Like, that's something I'd like to do, actually, and I've been thinking about it for a while. Or I could play something like Lords of Shadow. I'd like to play that as well. Like, there's a lot of, like, ways I can take this, right? And eventually, I think I'll play them anyways. But it's more kind of like, what do you want to see next?
Hey, I'm waiting on
So really, the sky's the limit. Here, let's get rid of these zombies. And let's break open these ATMs. I don't know if the ATM even stands for Automatic Telling Machine. That might be it. I'm a little not sure, though. There is something else going on about the video game movies. No, I think that was all I really had to say. High hopes for Castlevania. Speaking of soundtracks, Castlevania is like one of the best soundtracks in the existence of history, in my opinion. I think Castlevania music is like some of the best. I think Nintendo music's quite good as well. Like, I'm not gonna say Nintendo does bad music. Like, I think a lot of video games companies do good music, but Castlevania music, oh, I could go on about that forever. Oh, there's something in the back of my head that really... No, I think I talked about it. Shoot, man. Ah, there's nothing to talk about. We can talk about the weather. No, what I was going to talk about is the temporal nature of YouTube videos. So, when I'm recording this video, whatever I say is, like, relevant, right? Because when I'm recording this, like, I'm in present time. So, whatever I say right now makes sense for me. We should... Okay, they're coming. Cool. Oh, we need to come back for Chad, I guess. Okay, if Chad's right here... Okay, come on. Come on, Chad. He's doing pretty good with the sword, but I don't want to take chances. By the arena, he said. Chad's too far away. Come on, Chad. Is Chad too far away? No, he's not. However, once I put my video on YouTube, assuming that you watch it within, like, say, a few minutes of when I upload it, and assuming that I upload it, like, shortly after I record it, it could still be relevant. Like, so if you watch this, like, a week from when I recorded it, it might be like, okay, this makes sense because this is only, like, a week behind. So, like, there might still be Castlevania buzz about the TV show 1 week later. So it's like, okay, that's not too jarring. Sorry, I thought someone got grabbed for a second. I was gonna panic. I should probably kill more zombies on the way here. Yeah, because I don't want anyone to die. Because in this one, unlike the Vanilla Dead Rising, survivors can actually get hit and hurts, as you're probably seeing right now. But say if you watched my YouTube video, say, like, a year after it was uploaded, you might be like, oh yeah, the Castlevania movie already came out, and it was a dud. Like, no one liked it, it sucked. But that might be interesting too, just be like, oh, what were the times, like, back in the back in the day, right? Like, what did people have for expectations? And I think that's part of the reason why like people like watching like older films, because sometimes they age very well, but they're still a bit dated, if you know what I mean. Like, if you say, look at the first Alien movie, I think the general consensus is that it's still a good movie. It's just a bit dated. Yeah, I'm gonna eat these fries for myself. I need them. And we have them all. Cool. But, like, you can really tell, like, it was made in the 80s just because, like, how the film was. But back then, when they first made the film, like, that was, like, cutting edge. Like, it was all relevant. Or a better example would probably be Star Wars. You look at the first Star Wars movie, and everything in there looks very, like, futuristic, sorry. Like, when you watch, say, Star Wars Episode 4 when it first came out, people would say that, it's like, oh, yeah, like, that's the future. Whereas now, some of us would look at that and just be like, something that's so dated. Like, it looks so old. Or clunky, right? Range attack. Ugh. A Pegasus, that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
So I guess we should look for Doris now? Where's the arena? Here's the arena. Okay. Let's go to the arena and then try and get Doris, and then we will be on our way. And I think... I was gonna say, I think video games have this problem too, but I think... Not problem, but like... all forms of media, right? Like, if you look hard enough, you can tell that... You can tell which era it was made in. I don't think that's always the case, though, so I'm going to be careful. I'm going to avoid from, you know, making bold claims like that. But I think for the most part... But then that's why I think you have the phrase, like, timeless classics, because even though... Well, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if, say, they did, like, a medieval film in the 80s, then... Like, it could be a very high-quality film, but because it's about something in the past, they can make it today and it could still be very similar. Like, so, for example, let's consider The Princess Bride. Or, like, The Army of Darkness. Well, Army of Darkness probably isn't a good example. So, consider The Princess Bride, right? It's a film set in the medieval times, but most people consider it to be, like, a classic. However, if they were to remake it today, I think some things would change, like maybe how actors would act and like hairstyles and stuff. Like, I think some of that stuff like bleeds over anyways, right? Like, you can tell, like, you know, the movie might be in the 80s because, like, based on how like an actress or an actor might have his hair, or maybe not if it's a very faithful adaptation of the medieval times. Get out of here! I'm not interested in playing you guys. Then they might say, okay, what was happening in the medieval times, like as far as like hairstyle goes, and they'll just do that. But there exists a possibility where they could make the movie in like the 1980s, but then remake the movie in the 2000s, and it would be a very similar style movie. I think the biggest deviation comes from science fiction. That's where you get the big changes, because for science fiction, sometimes you're looking forward to the future instead of like looking to the past or present day. Well, even for present day is a bit different, right? Like, so if you have a film that's set in the present day now, that's going to be a lot different than a film set in present day in the 1980s or the 70s or whatever, right? Because the 80s were just different than, you know, the 2000s. But I think for that's... I mean, it's not really an issue, but just more of an observation. Did we grab a weapon for her? Probably not. We do have coffee creamer, though, so we're okay. And, like, likewise for games. I think games that might have that effect, too. Well, games are a bit weird, though, because the hardware keeps changing, right? So I think an intelligently made game, say, that's on Nintendo, might be still regarded today as a classic. Because even though it had those, like, technological... restrictions, it doesn't mean it could be a bad game, but I think that's where some games age better than others, depending on the game. So, for example, And this is down to preference too, right? I think I'm gonna say some things that not everyone's gonna agree with, and that's cool. If you disagree with me, please like let me know. Like I would love to spark a discussion down in the video. Hello. Oh, hello.
Frank, there seems to be a dancer growing up in the Americana casino.
Cool. Thanks. Alright, so here's what we'll do. We will set this. Okay, and the waypoint's already set. Oh, okay, that's right there, actually. Hey, Doris, what's up? Here, we will talk to you.
Those zombies are like hogs in mud. That's right.
So, I could have just, we're gonna eat this. We're gonna eat this too. And I'm gonna take the bat and we're gonna clear some zombies.
This way. Keep up. Hurry up.
As I was saying about games that like, you know, age better than others, like Super Mario World I think is a fantastic game. So it's a Mario game for the Super Nintendo. And I think it's incredible. And we need to save Doris because she got grabbed. Oh no, she's fine.
Go. Hey, keep up.
I gotta keep an eye on them. If she gets really low, we'll give her a coffee creamer.
Hoof it. Keep up.
The AI is definitely a lot better than First Dead Rising, but I'm definitely noticing that in Dead Rising 2 they're much stronger. Alright. But that's fine, we played through the First Dead Rising, we're okay. Oh, the Americana, do we set the waypoint correctly? Yes, okay, we did, cool.
Speed it up.
Whereas if you consider, like, say, Ocarina of Time, I don't think Ocarina of Time actually aged that well.
Hustle it up.
Okay, come on.
Let's go. Come on.
I will lead you to victory.
Keep up. Follow me.
But Ocarina of Time, when it came out, was a classic. Everyone loved it. Whereas now, I think action games have evolved to the point where it's like, I tried playing Ocarina of Time, and I'm like, dude, like this feels a little bit clunky. Puzzles don't feel as good, and stuff like that. However, I didn't play it when it first came out, so maybe I don't have that nostalgia help me out. Hello. I'm not Josh.
Okay, this is a really bad time to be slow and stumbling.
Drink the vodka.
Shucks. Thanks.
Oh, not what I meant to do. Can I give you back your handgun?
Bless your heart.
Can I carry you? Yes. Alright, we are on our way. Open the door.
Keep up.
Hell yes.
Whereas I think, like, some people, if I said, oh yeah, Ocarina of Time, I don't think aged that well. I get it. I want to straight this...
I'm freaking.
Straight. I want to stress that this is personal preference. Well, this is subjective, right? So, because I think so, this doesn't necessarily mean that this is actually the case. Oh, shoot, we're already at 24 minutes for the video. Okay, I'll just drop them off now in the video. Time flies when you're having fun, obviously. But some people, like, Ocarina of Time will always hold a special place in their heart because they played it as a kid and they have so many fond memories of it. So, like, they'll always, like, sit down and play the game and it's like, oh, like, it brings happiness to them. Dude, that's awesome. That's great. I'm happy for you. But I think for my argument, we need to consider the case a kid who is 12 from the year, like, 2017 playing the game now. I think that kid would just be like, it's okay, but I would rather play this. And if you're a 12-year-old, as of right now, when you're watching this video, and Ocarina of Time is your favorite game of all time, let me know. I want to know if I'm wrong on this, right?
Speed it up.
Alright, let's go. But, you know, again, that's just my thoughts. Some games age better than others. But, and like, for Super Mario World, I played that when I was a kid, right? So maybe he gets a free pass because, like, I'm biased. Or is it, like, a genuinely, like, a game that aged well? And that's all I had to say. More news at 10. And we're going to save the game. And thank you all for watching. And I hope to catch you all in the next video. Until then, see you guys later. Bye.